Greetings, fellow scientists. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Biotech, the first Wendigo. Episode 209, Return to Research. One big change this stream was, honestly, it was all Cathanon. I barely did anything. But a brand new mod to help the Wendigo project, which is growth vat accelerators. So, a little reminder, about 2 weeks ago, I made up a poll about how to help out the Wendigo project. And overwhelmingly, most people voted on setting up growth vat accelerators that are very expensive. So the idea is that these growth vat accelerators will be hooked up to growth vats, and to speed up the speed of the growth vats for like an insanely high cost of both power and nutrition. But the benefit, of course, is that the really good specimen eggs, the eggs that we want most, the eggs that are going to push the Wendigo project the fastest, can be shoved in there and rapidly accelerated. So that will be really cool. So that's actually one of the projects right now. We have the leftover project of trying to keep the prisoners a little bit more happy, so they have fewer mental breaks, so that we can harvest their eggs more often, because the mental breaks are kind of a problem. But then I have to also build a research, because I actually destroyed all of my research facilities, because I thought that I was done with research. But I got to build a high-tech research bench with a multi-analyzer, and then set up the growth lab. So that's where we're picking off. Right at the start here, we are going to have a lot of specimens that are going to be popping out of their pods. Oh, you know what? The other thing I'm going to do, just as a balancing thing, is to go back to a generic Randy Random. So previously, and I had announced this so as to not have it hidden from you. Previously, I had ramped up the age rate, the child aging rate, to 600%. To try to help the project. But now that we have an alternative path, what I can do is I can set it to default losing is fun, which is 400%. So I lose some base child aging rate. And I'm actually not entirely sure that that child aging rate applies to children in the vats. I suspect it does, but maybe it doesn't. But now at this point, we're just default losing is fun, rather than slightly tuned for faster child aging. And Thomas Ross, thanks for all the gifted subs. So my idea for the high-tech research bench is just to temporarily displace some of the hospital, to plop it in here and be like, well, whatever, eminent domain. Oh, and Apollo again with more bits. Holy heck. And we also have 3 merchants coming in. One is going to be due for death rest relatively soon. Luckily, she's not the only researcher. She used to be. But now we have Lilin and Whammy that both do research. And I might put... Oh, no, Lilin's already on a night owl schedule. So one is a day, one is a night, which means I ought to have research going like 24/7 nearly, which will be really helpful to try to push that Wendigo project up. Oh, the tech does not require multi-analyzer? No, it wouldn't, because it's multi... It probably should, because multi-analyzer research is here. Whatever. Adjustments can be made. It is in the... Well, it's connected to biogeneration. Technically, it should, but yeah, if it doesn't, multi-analyzer is only going to speed up the process. Alright, I'm going to buy their Psych IT, because I guess I'm running low. I'm gonna, looking at this, it looks like I'm gonna need a deep drill plasteel, unless I have a bunch of plasteel out there that hasn't been hauled. That's entirely possible. I've got a copy of her bust. And then a shock lance. Wow, these guys actually have some pretty good stuff. So we were deep drilling for gold. Looks like I'm gonna need a shift to plasteel. And that's it. Alright, fine. We have so much Neutermium, I'm not really worried about that. So that's Amtas's trade. Get rid of that. Next closest would be the Glitterworld Empire. And I am going to start prepping the space for... for the research benches. I'm not going to build an extra room, because it's a sort of a temporary project. And then once it's done, we can break it back down. High libido, don't need that. We don't even allow for traditional breeding. And Sky, thank you for the bits. It was a pleasure playing with you and Schultzwolf with some DRG the other night. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for letting me join. 'Twas a pleasure. Burning off some extra steam. And then, of course, I was playing with Guitar Lil and Kath some Terraria, which I realize I am terrible at. It was very funny. Lava hurts a lot. Okay, pretty boring, but that's fine. I have so many corsets. I really need to, like, do a trade run with Bryzit or something. Yeah, speaking of Gene Extractor, right now Sentinel's in. So let's do a little prediction of whether I'm going to get good genes off of Sentinel. So, yes or no? A little reminder, Sentinel is a single phage. I'm looking for most of the hemogenic genes. I do have Drain and Spine. Mild UV, Tender Skin, and Low Sleep are all ones... Wait, why would I want Tender Skin? Have I not? I think... I guess I want it just because I don't have it. So, yeah. Those are the ones that I'm looking to scan. So that you know what the chances are roughly for the prediction there. Another thing we did last stream was we converted all of our farms over to Tinctoria in hopes of dyeing the entire lab like a deep red evil color. Well, I mean, Wendy doesn't see it as evil. A deep red, aesthetically pleasing color. And do Village for the resub. Mr. Ron, how are you enjoying the US of A? I hope it's treating you well. One thing that I've long neglected is I bought Hyperweave with the intention of making Hyperweave clothing for Wendy, and I never got around to it. Ooh. I no longer need to scan Unstoppable from the Hussars. I just bought one. And our last Deathless had Reduced Pain and Long-Haired. This one has Animal War Call. I'll keep the one we had, I guess. I might as well have the Unhappy Gene Pack. I don't know why we would use it. Maybe if we end up getting a Tortured Artist, I can implant that and make them even more tortured. That looks good. So we've done the trifecta trade. Phoenix, you became a child. Where are you? Jump to location. Are you allowed to be a colonist? You are, so you will remain free for now. So I'm just like moving things around in this room here to fit in the research bench. Oh, this is dumb. I think Frosty is waiting for Low to tend, and then Low is waiting for another doctor. Well, Frosty isn't a doc, but get out of those beds. And Bryzit is still in his coma. A little reminder, of course, that we finally re-engineered Bryzit to be more skilled. Kadath gets a growth moment. Industrious. Ooh, look at you. Starting off strong. Whoa. And also starting off with a lot of shooting skill. I will take it. It sounds good to me. Alright, I'm going to put the multi-analyzer anyway, because it will help speed up the research. And pretty soon here, we're going to have to vote on the future of quite a lot of the individuals here. We have 6 potential subjects that are going to be popping out of the vat soon. So I'm going to start those polls. So the first one's going to be Zayla. Zayla is a creepy, breathing, ugly, fast walker who somehow, through the bugginess of RimWorld Biotech, has learned 20 melee. I could implant awful melee gene into her, and she would still, or him, she would still have 20 melee. Because right now, technically, she's at 28. Genetically, we've got a 5er. One with mini horns, which is kind of rare. So, what to do with Zayla? I'm just going to call... Well, yeah. Hold up. I'll leave this open so you get an idea of... You don't have to memorize. So, we could do Colonist, Prisoner, Crypto Sleeper, or Organ Donor Sacrificed. I'm going to include Organ Donor Sacrificed because a 5 gene isn't... I think we'll set the threshold as kind of like a 6 gene. Of course, keeping it as a full-fledged colonist is totally fine. Alright, I am having Wendy take over for the construction bots because the construction bots are slow, and she'll manage to get this high-tech research bench built quicker. Oh, and little Muckaplex is a drug lover. Whoever told the 7-year-old about drugs while they've never experienced a free day in their life outside the vats, I don't know. I don't understand that, but I don't need to understand. I like how in this poll, people can't decide, you're free to be a colonist, or you're going to be murdered and we're going to take your organs. And there's like very little in between. Boy, has the pendulum swung. One thing, food for thought, would be that if we do accept a new wave of new colonists, I can very finely tune their genetics to serve a very specific purpose and then start phasing out the old ones. Because Wendy... alternatively, we could imprison some of... So that's another thing to do with current colonists, is imprison and deep sleep is possibly appropriate. So maybe I should add that to these polls. Because if we imprison them, they're no longer a colonist, and that no longer counts against us for like population levels. And then if we deep sleep them, they're just kind of out of the way, and we don't have to feed them. So I'm going to actually start including that as an option as well, in order to like phase out older colonists or deal with the new ones. Because if they're imprisoned and deep sleep, they can always be experimented upon, or alternatively re-recruited, although they'll be pissed, but like, maybe I don't really care if they're pissed. Alright, setting up the joy wires. I'm going to have Bryzit make these. So I'm going to do until I have 2. Is that? Do until... Okay, yeah, it is. And then drop them on the floor when we're done. Although, Bryzit's kind of unconscious right now, so maybe that's a bad choice. Mass. Let's have you do it. Whoa! Wait. No. Missing components. I'm literally staring at 41 components right here. Come on. Stop pulling my leg. So growth accelerators is now a valid research. It won't take too long, I don't think. Can we deep sleep a bunch of amazing colonists to have a reserve army in case of emergency? Yeah, the problem is when you pop out of crypto sleep, you have crypto sleep sickness, which means you're pretty ineffective for about 4 hours or so after popping out. So if it was an emergency, it would have to be an emergency that was very slow, right? Like a prepare a while raid or something like that, because of their... Seriously? Dangerous temperature? It's only 0. You guys are nuts. Maybe they know that I'm gonna get like a cold snap or something. Okay, organ donor sacrificed. All right. So you were Shell and Jack's kid. Well, Jack's not gonna be too happy about that. But hey, chat has voted. Might as well stop growing you. Do I have ideological sacrifice? No, I don't. It's on cooldown. All right, well, kidney, lung, heart. Next up, Nabla. Nabla cannot be a colonist because they have slow wound healing, a inappropriate gene for colonists. They are nimble, industrious, gourmand. And in terms of genetics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So genetically, somewhat useful. Mini horns with double stomachs. So I am going to take off of organ donor. Crypto sleep also doesn't make sense. So, well, so really, I don't even need to do this. The only really appropriate thing to do with Nabla is imprison them for egg harvest. So that one's already set up. That's fine. All right. Then Tangier, go for you. You too are a prisoner. So you have got 6 genes with 2 negatives, and you're also female. So the only appropriate thing to do for you is also prisoner. That's nice and settled. Dragon Dill. No, Dragon Dill is different. Dragon Dill is a 5 gene, again with mini horns, a lower represented gene in our genomes, and your bio is jogger, teetotaler, misogynist. You also somehow maxed crafting out of nowhere. So very possible, very capable crafter. You're male, so cryptoslep also would make sense. And I am now adding imprison deep sleep to the potential what to do with them. So mini horns, cold tolerant, reduced pain, strong melee damage, and fast wound healing. A mix of Impid, Neanderthal, and Dirt Mole. Sindra, thank you for the resub. And thank you everybody for the hype train. Cheers. Here is Sentinel's prediction, and then taking a look at the other gene scanners. So Eevee, we bought Unstoppable, so I'm going to take the heart off of that. So from Eevee, we really only want red eyes or awful art. And it's quite possible if we have baseliners to just scan or implant awful art and then rip scan it. So that's also true of Star. Genes regrowing for Eevee's 3 days, Star is 11, and then Sarai is going to be next, probably. I'll check, because Kath just got scanned. Yeah. And we got Robust, if I recall, off of Kath. Which is not needed. I'm going to have Wendy do the operations in Zayla. And Zayla, I am, if you're in the chat or in the YouTube video, I'm sorry about what's about to happen to you. But it was not my choice. I scanned pyrophobic, strong social, and attractive. Where are you even taking this, Bank? Oh, I am out of... Okay. I didn't realize that these had filled up. Okay, Dragondale will remain a colonist. Cool. So we've got sacrificed, prisoner, prisoner, colonist. So Scorpio, Mr. Hyperchat. Scorpio is a 6-gener, so probably inappropriate for sacrifice, as they do meet the threshold. So that won't even be considered as an option. Hey, you're off the chopping block. And Scorpio is male. So being male, cryptosleep makes sense. So the reason cryptosleep doesn't make sense for female is you can't extract eggs every 10 days in a cryptoslept female. But for a male, they can just pop out of the pod, fertilize some eggs, and then hop back in the pod. So it's like a male-only thing. It's not me being like selectively gendered. It's just the way the game works. Eggs don't regenerate when you're sleeping. So priority for you will be colonist, prisoner, cryptosleep, or imprisoned deep sleep. I really should call that imprisoned cryptosleep. So I'm going to rewrite some things here. There we go. Them's the full list. And then the last one that you'll have to... Well, I'm not going to confuse you. I'm not going to go to the last one, because that will be confusing. Just one at a time. So for the prediction, did we want this? No, we did not. It was 3 genes, none of which we cared about, so I'm not even going to bother auto-loading it. And that resolves that prediction. Which is surprising, because I get scanned... I mean, when you consider Sentinel here, when you consider Sentinel, I scanned 3 genes, and of all of the genes that were scannable, so what is this, 7, 21, 22, 23, so there's 23 genes scannable, and I wanted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So 8 out of 23 of the possible genes I would have found useful, and we managed to scan 3 of them, and none of them, you know, were useful. It'd be like trying to flip a roughly 3-sided coin and coming up fail, you know, 3 times in a row or whatever. That's a little confusing, but all right. Zayla, I don't know why no one's ripping out your organs. That was voted upon. And I'm going to run the next prediction for Sarai. So Sarai is a bit of a long shot. We just want great socials, the only thing we want from Sarai. But if you vote yes, and most people vote no, and you get it right, you get quite the windfall of points. All right, bye-bye, Zayla. I'm going to make sure that your skull adorns the skull throne. I like how Wendy's like, yes, and everyone's like, no! She's like, ah, yes! My rival died, and I got to execute someone. She thinks a little bit differently than the rest of everybody else. Alright, Scorpio will be a crypto sleeper. I believe I need another pod for that. In fact, I'll just build 2. Build 1 ahead of time. And last but not least, we have Melkirk. Or Melkirch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a prisoner. So that isn't even worth voting on, because we already know they're going to be a prison. But a 7-gener. Boy, do you deserve to be in a prison. Did we? Oh yeah, we have some joy wires. Okay. Let's start implanting them. What do we just insert there? Unhappy and unstoppable? Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, we definitely want those, especially unstoppable. So unstoppable, if you're wondering, is a gene that makes you not get stunned when meleeed. A very powerful thing for Hussar to have, or for anyone. Carriers of the gene are not slowed down when taking damage, so you don't get staggered. And we're going to start implanting the joy wires to try to keep these finicky little idiots from being annoying. Yeah, it works at melee range, exactly. You become the juggernaut, you know? And I'm going to stockpile the joy wires in the prison, so that implantation a little bit easier. Oh boy. So we had the giant... oh man, I have so much herbal meds. So we had the giant Tinctoria harvest, but I think I'm going to do another run of Tinctoria. And I am going to do a test run for dying. Just to see how it looks. Oh, also the test run is going to be large scale. And guess what? Everyone except for Wendy gets the paint. Alright, yeah, so little Wendigos, it's finger paint time. Pick up dyes and finger paint. It would be cool, I just realized, oh boy, I'm giving Cathanon some ideas. It would be cool that if a person's favorite color was well represented within their bedroom, there was an extra benefit. Right? Because right now, for your favorite color, the only thing that matters is apparel colors, but not private bedrooms. It'd be really cool if, like, there was a benefit to private bedrooms. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, favorite colored bedroom plus whatever. Favorite color in the bedroom sounds awesome. Or ideology, right? That too. There'd be more of a reason to use dyes. Should be pretty easy as well. I mean, the way I had imagined it coding, I would do something like the total percent of things that are dyeable in the bedroom, and then compare that to how many of those things are dyed the color you want, and then scaling that, rounding it to like a scale of like 1 to 5, with 5. You'd also want to have it not just be percentage, but also like volume too. So there'd be a little bit of math to do it. Because, right, like, if you have a 6x6 bedroom all in the right color, that's a lot more than, like, a 1x2 bedroom all in the right color. So you'd have to want to calculate both what percentage of the bedroom is the color you want and how large the bedroom is to come up with a total value. Some sort of, you know, equation. Sarai, you are going in. Here, Kath, you extract Sarai's genes. But yeah, it would be relatively simple. You could also even, I mean, I think it's unnecessary, but you could also drive it to beauty as well. But that would be a lot more complicated, because then only that specific individual that likes that specific color would consider it more beautiful. So, question to you all. How do you like the colors so far, and should I paint the base burgundy? The idea that I had would be that I wouldn't have burgundy floors, as the contrast between walls and floors would be lost. I could try, like, maybe a darker gray floor or something like that. So it's like not black, because I think some of the detail might be lost. I could try for black, but burgundy walls and then some other color black, or some other color for the floors. Likely black, as that is, you know, roughly what Wendy is wearing. But I'd be open for other colors. So I could try like a little bit of a paint palette. Some other rooms, like the prisoner rooms, could be easily dyed prisoner colors, much the way we have the color-coded prisons in here. I think that makes more sense than just burgundy across the board. And then I could also consider doing like green for the farms and stuff like that. I could pull for that as well. But I do like the sort of burgundy base, and it gives me a reason to plant, you know, huge swaths of Tinctoria. The reason I'm doing Tinctoria is we just have so much rice, it's starting to be ridiculous. In this here, I am going to do Slicoid, though. How's our beer supply? You know, in this farm, I might do hops. Actually, if I'm doing that, I'll do this farm for Psychoid. And then this one can go back to Tinctoria. There. So the research project into growth fat accelerators is underway. I might as well just get all the Starflight stuff. Not that I particularly need it for this scenario, as going to space isn't part of the goal. Too bad I can't do slab beds for the prisoners. I know, right? It's not part of our ideology. I mean, I could do bedrolls. Have them sleep on the ground on bedrolls, but... actually, that's not a terrible idea. Like, human leather bedrolls for all of them. It'd be a lot of work to, like, build those. And if I built them, I would want to build them with, like, a crafter that sucks at... or a constructor that sucks at construction. Because the reason I use slate beds is slate beds' rest recovery rate is bad. Because I want the prisoners to spend as much time as possible in bed. So if I did really crummy bed rolls, you know, that might be better. Look, who's my worst constructor? Let's say Mass. You want to try to make like a crummy bedroll and we'll compare and contrast? And you guys like the burgundy base. Cool. All right, let me do some color swaths for flooring. So, in this section, let's have like a lighter gray, a neutral gray, oh, I see. You don't. Wow, I can't click. A light gray, neutral gray, and then like a close to black. And do a little swath there. Should some rooms not follow the color scheme, like farms or prisons? I could just paint with a broad brush kind of everything, or not. Ergo, thank you for the resub, and hi to you. Well, let's check the rest recovery rate. So this is a poor one. Yeah, rest effectiveness is 87%, so it does super suck. I definitely could pull whether or not I want, you know, bed rolls for the prisoners instead of beds at some point. So did I use up all the dyes already? Yeah, we're gonna have to run Tinctoria for a while then, huh? It's fine by me. Given her current money. But I like it. I think it looks extra creepy. You know, Dave, I'm gonna take out your stomach. I could use nuclear stomach. I don't think you need yours. We're starting to get joy wires. And growth vat accelerators are done. So let's go into Starflight stuff. But if I want to make use of a growth vat accelerator, I need to build a lab specific for it. So let me talk about it real quick, the way it works, so that you can make an informed decision. So the growth vat accelerator, the way it works is you have a growth vat, and then you have these accelerators that link to it once it's built, like this. Each accelerator is very expensive in terms of power. It stores extra nutrition, and then it also ramps up the speed at which the individual inside the growth vat gestates, but also ramps up the amount of nutrition they require. So instead of growing quickly, they grow insanely fast, but at just an increased cost. So if I want a growth vat lab, I have to decide exactly where to put it. You know, and the purpose of that specific lab would be to grow particularly important specimens quickly, whereas the average Wendigo specimen, you know, at this point 5s and 6s and maybe flawed 7s can go in here, and the 7, 8s, 9s can go into the accelerated growing. How much rice do I have? Oh, right now it says 8K. But I don't even know. And it looks like you guys don't want it to follow. You want specialized rooms to have their own color scheme. But let me vote on the growth vat lab locations first. So one is I could put the lab sort of here. So this will be 1. I could put the accelerated lab there. The other thing is it's going to require increased power. So I might want to consider adding solar and wind to the base. I have space for solar and wind. But you know, that might be a good idea. Or even like chem fuel or something like that. Alright, let me look at the mountain overlay. It also the lab doesn't need to be huge. So I could put a specialized lab like here. Right. It's because it's only really a growth vat plus 5 accelerators, and you can have 1 or 2 accelerators. It's just less of an effect. So this is my ASCII 2. So I could sort of drill into the wall here and have a private room for a super fast lab. And I really only intend to have like 1 or 2 super fast accelerated vats. Not too many more than that. I could also do it here in this sort of thoroughfare area. Okay, that's a 3. You'll just have to use your imagination. And then 4, I could put it somewhere down here where the prisoners are. So where to build the accelerated growth lab? And I'll write a description so you don't have to memorize it. So 1 near the mortars. That sounds sketchy, but it isn't as sketchy as it sounds. 2 off the regular lab. 3 near the rec room, or 4 near the stables and prison. Okay. Well, there you go. I guess it even could have fit here. Psychic bonding. Alright, we didn't want that. So, that prediction is a fail. Next scan will be Eevee for just like awful art, right? And red eyes. You know, there's actually some, if you forgive me, there's some extra ideas here. So I'm going to include some extra ones. 5 could be here. Near the egg storage. And 6. This one is weird, but like, thematically it makes sense. Near death rest. Okay. There we go. I will stop messing with this now. I promise. It's Lotus, thank you for the resub. So 6 near death rest. Yeah. I could break away some of the walls that we had built to make it a little easier to put in there. So just to recap, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld, the first Wendigo, which originally streamed live on Twitch July 2nd. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community, it also has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits and are still somehow watching at episode 200 plus. It's ridiculous. I hope to catch ya next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Wendigos.